so mad, there's no control
Ladies
of
and
me. My
gentlemen,
thoughts
just in
get
case
so
you
bad,
live
I'm
under
like,
a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a bat,
looking
I
at the
don't know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
baddest
boils over
rising
like,
star in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad.
What is up, everyone? It is the Heel of the Ring NXT edition with BX Sports, JEDI, Kev, and tonight's co-host, Samurai. Salute, Samurai.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How's everything going? Are we ready? We know that it was Tuesday night and NXT. Take it away.
Hey, well, first we have the tag team match between Solo Sikoa and Cameron Grimes versus Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. Now,
Yes, that was a good match. Go ahead. Break it down, my friend.
the match was pretty good from, wrestling standards, but I don't really know how else to put it besides it was good. Like, I love the chemistry between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, but also the chemistry between Trick Williams and Solo Sikoa and Cameron Grimes is pretty good. The ending of the match was the ending of the match saw, I believe, Carmelo Hayes hit a moonsault for the win. But
Right.
I think it was a moon. I don't remember what happened. I think it was a moonsault, and then Solo Sikoa hit a. I don't remember really. I can't remember what happened.
No, let me tell you about my thoughts on that match. That match,
Yeah.
For some reason, the USA Network right off the bat. I total transparent. I DVR'd it because there was Ranger. Actually, we were doing the lottery on the JEDI Network covering, the NBA lottery. So I had to record it and watch it. And for some reason, it didn't come out. So I looked for it on YouTube, saw the match there. Before the match even started, I want to actually give a shout out to Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, because as a tag team and as wrestlers, each they're getting over. They're becoming a better, despite them being the heel in this storyline and being chased, they're actually really getting much better as performers. Tag team, getting and coming up with some different moves. And wow, Carmelo Hayes, the way he just flies from the ropes, and phenomenal. I just wanted to give them their shine there. And also Solo Sikoa is the next rising star in NXT. You could see him, and he's gonna probably win the North American title in your house. And also Cameron Grimes. Each one of these four competitors are so over, and they look like they're ready. You could see that the event developing stage of them, they're already ready to go to take themselves to another level. I still think Sikoa needs a little more seasoning. Say you want to bring him on the main roster. I know everyone wants to tie him into the bloodline, because remember, the bloodline they have world title, tag team gold. They don't have any mid-card gold yet. But I hope they don't force Sikoa up in the main roster by thinking he's more seasoning. But he is a freaking star in the making, in my opinion, in NXT, ready to go there. It's really good. And Grimes, you could put him on SmackDown this Friday. If you're telling me, of course, he still has the title, but if you were to drop the title and you want to bring him up to Smack, because SmackDown needs mid-card wrestlers to go with. You know, I could see him working a good program with Ricochet and so forth, and making a big splash. I like, and of course, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. They need. I still think about a couple more months before they also need tag teams. So these guys, and long story short, all these guys put a good match forward, and I think they're getting ready to go up to that next level to main card roster guys. You know, and I also want to say Carmelo Hayes, he hit a Grimes actually did a double Frankenstein on Williams. It was a phenomenal move, you know, and we saw Grimes hit a crossbody on Hayes. So, you know, and then the hot tag with Sokoa. The match robbed up the crowd. The crowd got the heat. It got pumping. That's what you want. And it looked really good on television. And that NXT universe was phenomenally activated, Samurai.
Yes, indeed. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good to go, buddy.
Oh, okay. My thing wasn't moving. Well, I mean, like, you're right about that. I don't like that they're not giving them entrances. Like, what's going on with that? Like, you can give them entrances. Like, as soon as NXT starts, they're in the ring. Like, what's going on with that? They need to really cut that out.
Maybe the all transparency, it is in Orlando, where my home city, and I'm talking about, I'm literally like about 5 miles less than that away from the performance center where this taping and these actually events take place. So in the near future, I might be there live, and maybe coming live from there on one of the on a live. If you ever do a watch along NXT, and I'll be on, and I come from live there in person. But that's for another time, a date there, and I will let you know. I think they hype up the crowd, and I guess their entrances, their theme songs come before, and then they go into the program live. And that's just me thinking, but overall, that was a good. You know, I like the way they know how to activate a crowd. Starting on that, especially the last few weekends, the last few weeks in NXT, the crowd was really electric.
Yeah. That's just my one nitpick with what NXT is doing. I mean, I love NXT. Don't get me wrong, but they can at least, you know, give them entrances. Like a few of the wrestlers, they just come out basically to jobber entrances. They're already in the ring, which is annoying to me.
Yeah, I see what you mean, because we're used to, with the main roster having that entrance. That's part of the legacy and the aura of each individual wrestlers. When you hear their theme music or the entrance music, you know who it is, and you're expecting. You know, when you hear the you know, the gongs, you know, break it down. You know, are you ready? We already know who's coming. So yeah, I get you. That's also a signature part of these characters that we tend to love, face or heel, is their entrance and how it captivates us. I get what you mean there, Samurai.
Yeah, and the next match, which was the third first round match of the women's NXT Breakout Women's Tournament, which was Lash Legend and what's her name? Tatum. What is her name?
Tata PAXLEY. Tata PAXLEY.
Yeah, that's her name. Yeah, that happened. I botched that badly.
Don't worry. We nothing can be as worse.
Hey, we're live. Anything can happen. You know, like I don't know. I mean, Lash Legends, like, apparently she was in NXT UK for a while. I didn't know that because I don't watch NXT UK. Mainly because I don't have. It comes on. I don't even think the WWE Network is a thing anymore, but it comes on Peacock, and I don't watch Peacock. Only time I watch Peacock is during like the pay-per-views and whatnot. So, you know, that's why I don't watch NXT UK. That's for another day. Let's see. Well, that match was pretty sloppy, in my opinion. It wasn't good at all. You have a 6'4" woman who can't really wrestle, in my opinion, facing off against somebody who can wrestle in Tatum PAXLEY. And I don't really see the chemistry was just not there. It was off. It was horrible.
That's what you said. You said it right there correctly. The chemistry. The chemistry between these two ladies, you know, especially, you know, Lash, and like you said, she's 6'4", You know that she's there to be developing and learning the ropes, taking some bumps, and of course we knew that she was going to get over on Tatum PAXLEY, and especially the one thing, I don't know if it was a botch or if it was a botch. I love how they incorporated into the storyline was when Backside a legend for an electric chair, not once, not twice, 3 times. But then by the third time, she showed us that she had a knee injury because we saw Last Legend work on her knee. We saw even a couple of submission hold there by Last Legend. A standing kind of like a cobra leaf type of move. All in all,
the stretch wrestler.
The stretch, yes, and all in all, we saw PAXLEY hit a suplex, and hit a standing near fall. And like you said, there wasn't really no chemistry with these two ladies. You've seen both of them in a little the inexperience, but they kept it short and they kept it sweet. They didn't push it. I think they got through with it, and you want to applaud the ladies. Remember, those that are watching NXT, and I keep saying it, I said it before and I say it again, that is a developmental league for the next generation to bring on to the WWE main roster and Raw and SmackDown. Now, if you guys are going to be going to watch this, and I'm talking to anyone listening to us on any other platforms, if you guys are going to watch it with the very critical lens, then NXT is not for you. You have to have an open mind. You have to understand that and put yourself in these performers' shoes. If that's you for the very first time getting in the ring, learning the trade, and getting yourself ready to go to Raw, SmackDown, and maybe headline WrestleMania. So identify yourself, getting into the door, and this is your first time on television, working in front of a live audience, in front of a national televised audience, not just live, but also all over the world. This is identify yourself and put yourself in that lens before you get that critical, constructive. Remember, they're gonna have instructors in the back. They're gonna have their agents, bookers, who's gonna give them all the criticism. And they don't. And from us as fans, we gotta appreciate they're trying and they're doing their work. I understand when something's bad is bad. You don't applaud something that's bad anyway. But you gotta understand you have to have that lens. So in retrospect, they made the match short. Both ladies got their bumps. And they're gonna learn. They're gonna either, and that's what happens here, Samurai. Either you learn from in your ring experience, or if you don't learn and you keep making the same mistakes, then you get released.
Exactly. That's exactly what That's exactly what happened with a few other people. But like I said, I mean, the finish basically saw Last Legend hit a big boot for the win. And she advances to face the winner of the final first round match, which was later in the night. So the next match we saw was, who was it? Andre Chase versus Grayson Waller, I believe. Or was that after?
No, that's a little bit after. Before, as soon as that match was over. So we saw backstage, Tony D'Angelo's backstage saying, remember when they were talking about, you had Tony D'Angelo with I guess his Goombas, with Stack Lorenzo and Tony Two Dimes Donovan. They were talking about, their things, how they used to do things back in the early days, how there used to be people in the corner and all that. They cut a promo. Matter of fact, they just cut a promo and allowed for the ring to be empty, and all of a sudden, we saw Duke Hudson. Then they went on commercial break. They announced that they're going to go on the road. They're going to be house show circuits available soon. They're going to travel the whole state of Florida, put it that way. And then from that commercial break, there was into another promo from Duke Hudson. Was backstage. He took a couple time off. Clearing his head. Whatever happened, we all know that his former vignette got released by NXT and so forth. And his promotion, his promo was cut. Interrupted. Here comes the NXT champion Bron Breakker making his way, and he just cuts the promo and he says, "Put my music on," and take it from there.
Well, then okay. Now I'm refresh my memory. So yes, now we go to Bron Breakker cutting a promo on Joe Gacy, and the promo it was all right for what it was. I mean, I don't really know how else to put it. It was just a regular cut them up promo. You got the heel, egging on the face and so forth and so on. I don't know how else to put it besides I think Joe Gacy reminds me of Bray Wyatt. You know, that's before he became the Fiend. He reminds me of Bray Wyatt with the family.
I agree with you. You know, and when they cut that promo, you see Bron Breakker comes out and speak, and then he gets interrupted, and he thinking he's coming from the ramp, and he's actually in the back. He goes, "This is exactly where you cut you made your name for yourself and so forth." And once we thought that feud was going to be over, actually, it's not going to be over. It's going to continue. You know, and Gracie talked about how Bron Breakker's actually kind of hothead. He talked about how he had fun beating up his father, and ruining the family legacy, the name, and of course triggering Breakker to be so irate and angry. He says, "Why don't you come down and let's get in the ring. Let's go at it." And he goes, "I knew you were gonna say that. You're a predictable man, and your anger is very predictable." So he's playing the character of a Bron Breakker to his benefit, which, like you said, very Bray Wyatt-ish. You know, there's a lot of Wyatt aspect to that character.
Yeah, basic influence, which I don't like. I mean, I wish they would do something original, but then at WWE they go with what's hot.
Right, but also Samurai, again, what I just finished saying a few minutes ago, they're trying to develop a character here, and let's see if he could learn on the promo, if he could mimic certain, not to the T, Wyatt, maybe then they could trust him with another reinvention. Because remember, a lot of the times when these performers go to the next, when they get elevated to SmackDown Raw, they not normally use the same gimmick. They do something different sometimes. They're not usually the same gimmick that they use in NXT. Not all the time.
Very true. But let's talk about the two guys that are with Joe Gacy. Who are they and why are they there?
Yes, those two guys. Now this week we all know that each week they're different performers. Now when it comes to for them to be unveiled and revealed, they're the real minions. Are going to be the ones that they want originally. These guys were really tall. Not for nothing. These guys were huge. It was like, whoa, these guys some big guys there. What it looks like to me, I thought this feud was going to be over. Breakker was going to continue to be done. It looks like Gracie's getting prepared to become NXT World Champion. I'm getting vibes of that. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I like it. I don't really, like I said, I don't really care for the Joe Gacy character, but I like it. I want to see him as a champion. I mean, when they gave Dolph Ziggler the title, I was like, okay, they're gonna move Bron Breakker up to the main roster because that's all you heard. Bron Breakker's ready for the main roster, but he really, in reality, is not. He's not ready for the main roster yet. He needs a little bit more, some paprika, some seasoning,
Yeah.
So after this feud and Joe Gacy, if he wins, he wins. But if he doesn't, then that means that either he could be going to the main roster, which I don't see happening yet, or they could just nix it all together and say, you know what, we're gonna give somebody else a title, somebody else a chance at the title. I do see this feud going on. Well, it could very well go on well after In Your House. He could face one of the druids.
And that's what I think. That's what's going to happen to. Thank you for giving me the name Druids. I was trying to remember it. I know it was like I'm like what? And I said I did say minions, but it's Druids. I think one of the Druids is gonna. That's why I'm thinking that one of the Druids is gonna cost them the belt, and a title. And I think that's what they're gonna. That's that feud. And I think Gracie wins this and becomes the new NXT champion. All in all, I think because that's what WWE is doing. They're incorporating the storyline from the main roster, the way the main roster is ran, instead of different, totally independent programming from when NXT Black and Gold. They were totally different, and now with Shawn Michaels, head writer and booker, they're mimicking more of the WWE storyline or the way they book things and the way they bring up talent. Also, even if Gacy doesn't win this, can you see him being part of Judgment Day in the main roster because he has that dark persona, and for joining with Edge, and maybe you could put him and Priest as a tag team gold. Edge is the champion looking for a heavyweight title or something like that on those kind of aspects, or Ciampa and Gacy becoming acolytes or being part of the member of the Judgment group as a tag team.
I believe that Joe Gacy does go to the main roster and he does join Judgment Day because, like you said, he has that darker personality. He fits well with Edge's preaching. Yeah. So yes, I do see that, and I do see Tommaso Ciampa. But also, I heard somewhere that they might have Finn Balor turn on AJ and join the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
You did mention that. After you mentioned that, it's so funny because I saw it somewhere on Google somewhere, and it's like I don't know. I mean, every time they go with the Bullet Club type thing, they always leave it short, and I don't like that. I think that they should go full blown with the Bullet Club. But not calling the Bullet Club because that's copyright infringement. But who cares? They do what they want.
Because they could just go they're too sweet, and that was that's even before Bullet Club. That's NWO Wolfpack. To be honest with you,
exactly. So basically, I want to say Japan stole from NWO, but
yes, indeed.
Then like I said, I just feel as though Joe Gacy wins the title, and then we get who else do you think would benefit from Joe Gacy title run?
One of this benefit will be if you're not going to bring Grimes up, Grimes or Koa, if you want to go that route, and another wrestler coming around the road that will mention Von Wagner.
Von Wagner. What is a Von Wagner? I want to know. What is a Von Wagner? I don't know why they just didn't keep him Kyle Bloom. I mean, come on now.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that when we get to it. All right, we'll talk about that.
Correct. Almost completely done in the ring, and Breaker accepts the challenge. Now, Gracie warned Breaker if he loses his temper and he gets disqualified or
he still loses the title.
He loses the belt so title will be changed on the disqualification. So that's why I'm thinking one of those druids are going to turn and cost them the belt and cost them the title. And I think that's why I think Gracie wins. So after they cut that promo, they went backstage. You saw Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell said that she was tired of feeling alone. Says that it was the first time she was flying solo. And then Indy had courage and challenged Mandy Rose for an NXT title match. What's your thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, that's my response. I mean, I love Indy, but she's not going to win the belt. I think she should, but she's not going to. I love Indy.
You never know.
You never know. Yeah, but
they keep flashing.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, they keep flashing. Mandy Rose's consecutive days as champion is over 200 plus, and I think by the time they fight, they wrestle their match, it'll be close to 300. Almost a year. I'm not, anything could happen in the WWE. You never know with that, but I don't know. I still think Mandy Rose is still going to hold the belt unless Mandy Rose wants some time off. I don't see Mandy Rose. I think Mandy Rose should stay in NXT for a little longer. Help out those ladies down there because she was kind of like an afterthought on the main roster. I really like her character here. Yeah, I like her staple.
I'm gonna ask you this. Mm-hmm. Who do you think should from the main roster should go down NXT? Who needs it most?
To stay and work for seasoning
work a program, just work a program, or just go down there indefinitely.
I got one. I got a name. and I'm gonna mention it. I'm gonna hold off to that. I'm gonna tell you who it is, and to be continued with with two more little segments. We just real quick. We saw a quick segment backstage with Wesley was interviewed, said that Naquan Quinn is clear to compete. He don't know where he is, and I guess looks like that Quinn is trying to avoid and having a match with Lee. That's kind of getting a little. And then you saw Nathan Frazier come out of nowhere and accepted, challenge West for a match. And what's your first and foremost? What's your thought on that situation with Quinn and Lee?
I think they're gonna eventually do the whole let's team up thing. We can do this, but at the same time, I don't know. I just genuinely I'm really confused at that because like Zion Quinn is like a part of the Samoan legacy, right? Or is he just Aussie? I'm not sure, but he's got the Samoan tattoos, and he's got a tramp stamp, which is weird in a dude. No, but honestly, I feel like I'll have to go into further research and see what he is. But I think he could potentially join if they want him to. He could because he's ready for in a sense he's kind of ready for the main roster because he's that good.
Okay.
I think so at least. I think he could be a potential to join the Bloodline because let's be honest, the Bloodline is the top program on all of WWE right now.
Yes.
And I love where they're going with it. I think they could not be like NWO ripoff, but I think that they could
expand.
Like not like NWO did, where everybody and their mother was part of the NWO, but like just a Samoan legacy, basically.
I got you. You know what? I like that thought. I didn't. You know what? Where everybody's thinking that all signals are pointed to Solo Sikoa, but you know what, Quinn? They need someone to go after the mid card titles, and you bring in a guy Zion Quinn in there. Phenomenal. You know what? I never thought about that. Good job there on you, Samurai, for opening me and lighting me on that path. That's a good one. That's a good one there. And let me ask you this. What's your thoughts about Nathan Frazier? Let me give you my thoughts on Nathan Frazier real quick. I like Nathan Frazier. He came out, he's from NXT UK. High flyer, high energy, phenomenal moves, but I hope he doesn't get those type of excitement for 6 weeks, and then he turns into a Neville, we've seen all those high flyers that come in and they get stale. What's your thoughts, Samurai, on Nathan? I like what he does. To me, it's exciting.
Nathan Frazier is great. He was trained by Seth Rollins. He was very high impact, high flying moves. I like his theme song. His theme song is great. For me, I feel like speaking of NXT UK, where is A-Kid? Where'd A-Kid go?
I don't follow the NXT 2K.
No, I know. He was in NXT. He came over from NXT UK to NXT, and then he had a couple matches, and then he just vanished in the thin air.
Really?
But yeah. I believe that I believe he will not turn into a
Neville,
so to speak, because he was trained by Seth Rollins,
okay.
and everybody's high on Seth Rollins. So I feel like him and Wesley had a damn good match. It was a very epic match. I love the chemistry between those two. And then you got I think they team up like a tag team.
Okay.
Like,
all right. So
or
we
we get them as a tag team because it sucks that they released Nash Carter over what people are saying shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
It was an 8-year photo.
Yeah.
He got released, and then Nash Carter and Wesley is basically floundering on his own. Like, he's good, but I feel like he deserves better.
I agree with you on that. And maybe this is where Frazier. Well, we'll talk about they agreed to
Their
have a
match.
match with one another, and that's for later on after in the program. And then all of a sudden we have the finally one of the to me where we were talking a little earlier. It's the Viking Raiders, Eric and Edvard versus the Creed brothers, Brutus Creed and Julius Creed with Roderick Strong and Damien Kemp. Um, Again, I could watch these four men wrestle again over and over because not only their first match was good, their second one, their matches keep getting better. I know that the Creed brothers still got some more seasoning and more bumps to take in NXT, but when they get it going, they're going to be a freaking powerhouse tag team in the main roster. They're not there yet, but what's your thoughts on first the Viking Raiders with the Creed matches so far? Their program that they're doing right now.
I like it. I mean, I expected it because the Viking Raiders basically are floundering on what are they? SmackDown or Raw? I'm not sure where they're at.
They were jumping both places. I used to see them sometimes come on Raw, sometimes yeah.
I think what they're doing is they're preparing for the unification of the titles. So I did a unification thing with my hands, like you can see it, but they're preparing for the unification, having both Raw and SmackDown tag teams on both shows, which makes sense. So I feel like yes, the Creeds and the Viking Raiders their chemistry is amazing. They have very good chemistry together. And let's talk about Roderick Strong.
Indeed, let's do. Now,
what is going on with Roderick Strong?
Now, here's a lot of different. First and foremost, the Diamond Mine. We all know that it was Michael Bivens, the main leader of that group. Without them, they look like they're like floundering. You see Ivy doing her own thing, pretty much kind of separating herself in her own program away from the Diamond Mine. What it looks like here. The Creed brothers, they want to do everything honest. They want to set that they're trying to do the program as they're going to be the ultimate face tag team.
That's where they're going with it. I mean, I believe the Creeds are better. To me, I think the Creeds are a better face tag team than a heel tag team because they need the come from behind type thing, which is what they have. And they're facing pretty deadly at the pay-per-view, I believe. So
yes,
I think that what they're doing is they're transitioning them from heel to face, which is good.
Right. And with Roderick Strong, now he bought Damien Kemp. You could tell that there's going to be you could see there's a dysfunction or a break in the Diamond Mine. And one guy, like I know you asked me a few segments ago, who would I like to see from the main roster come down to NXT to work and help them? I could see for the Creed brothers, I would love them to have another guy to work with them as either a fat mouthpiece or teaching them the ropes. Also, in-ring performer, and let us know he could still wrestle. It's Shelton Benjamin. We haven't seen him on TV much. Shelton Benjamin with or Kirk Angle, since Kirk Angle won't. I don't think Kirk Angle is willing to do, although he does live in Orlando and everything's here. But I don't think he wants to, get back there. You could put almost the next best thing in Shelton Benjamin, All-American. With that. And that patriotic and turn into a baby face, and Cedric Benjamin got it. You've seen him in some epic matches in WrestleMania and off the ladder, even though he didn't win, but he has a lot of WrestleMania moments. He knows how to rule the crowd, entertain the crowd, and he's 35 years old. And he still got it. He doesn't have to take those massive bumps. You don't have to in the main roster. You don't have to put him over. You could go down there, work with the Creed brothers, be a mentor, and if you could even have Strong and Kemp, turn on them. They bring in them for help, and you could really do a nice program here with them. And I think it's a win-win situation. I would love WWE to do that. Shelton Benjamin is not being used on television much either. I think, to me personally, the same way they did Natalia, they brought Natalia down, Ziggler down. Benjamin will be the perfect fit. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that you're right about that. I mean, he's not being used. I mean, I'm afraid for people that aren't being used on WWE main roster television are gonna be the next ones that are cut. So what they could do, people that aren't being used, a la Shelton Benjamin, have them go down to NXT and really revitalize their career like Finn Balor did when it was black and gold, you know, which I miss the black and gold reign. I mean, you know, but Vince wants more color, so Vince knows what he's doing apparently. But yeah. As far as that, I believe you're right about that. Shelton Benjamin is the place to go, or for him is the place to go is NXT.
Yeah, and a Creed brother could benefit from his wisdom and tutelage. You know, you could actually, you know, it would have been perfect with Kirk Angle, because man, would you play his theme music? You hear that theme music come out with the Creed brothers and Kirk Angle teaching them, or Benjamin. Dun, 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 dun. Forget it.
Yeah.
It will go over. And of course, they would like you said, they want to be the ultimate face. I think I wish that would, you know, wish they would do that. I would love that. That would be, to me, that would be exciting. But all in all, back to the match, we saw them go in there. We saw, you know, there was going to be some interference, and you saw the Creed brothers stop. They stopped Roderick Strong from
Yeah, he get tossed out of
yeah.
He got like literally tossed out of the ring.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there's some dissension in the because we haven't really seen them in the Diamond Mine dojo or whatever gym dojo. Let's call it dojo.
Yeah, let's call it dojo.
You haven't seen him in the dojo lately, so the Diamond Mine is ceasing to exist because they want to release Malcolm Bivens. But I'm also hearing he wanted to leave WWE to go to AEW, which again, that's
to
do what? I don't know. I mean, can he wrestle, or is he just a manager?
To me, I think he's a manager, but they have plenty of those. They have all those ex WWE old over the top managers. You know, he's not going to go with the baddies because they already have their manager. It's like, for what? There's no purpose there. He just didn't want to sign an extension. I don't know what it is, but you know, it is what it is. You know, they moved on. You know, that's a move I wish they didn't do, because I thought he had character and I like his flair there. But all in all, we did see the Viking Raiders get the pin hit that double power bomb on the Creed brothers for the pinfall win. You know, Viking Raiders, they just work well in NXT. Though they're actually more fascinating in NXT than on the main roster when it comes to the Viking Raiders.
Yes, I agree with that. Full full throttle, 100%. Because I feel like they never should have been called up, but then at the same time, the WWE needs tag teams, so tag team wrestling should be a thing, but Vince doesn't care.
Yeah, and they should stop splitting them after a while. That's the problem when it comes to the tag team. They want to do they want to find the next Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels crossover.
But that's never going to happen. So
yeah,
that was a once in a lifetime thing, a diamond in the rough, so to speak.
Exactly. So we move on from that. We'll keep an eye on that feud with them, and see if that Diamond Mine splits and where we go from there in the tag team world in NXT. And then we get a promo in the back with SANTOS ESCOBAR, Legado de la Fantasma. We're backstage saying, "Yes, sir."
You actually forgot about Roderick Strong in the backstage. That actually happened after the match, I believe. Roderick Strong was backstage. Pretty Deadly came up and started talking to him. I don't know what they talked to him about, but that happened. So I guess Roderick Strong might be leaning towards Pretty Deadly. Like Pretty Deadly might be trying to recruit him. Does that make sense?
They might be recruiting him, but they also next week they're fighting with. He's going to fight with Damien Kemp for the tag belts next week on NXT. You were correct on that.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on there, because I saw it, but I was like, because like I said, they cut some things out on Hulu, but I watched it live, so I pretty much remember that, but I don't know what they were talking about.
Yeah, they set up for a match between them next week. So he says, I don't need to, they don't have to wait for for the Creed brothers to beat you. I could beat you with Kemp, and that's what's set up for next week there. And then they cut the promo with SANTOS Escobar, saying that Tony D'Angelo wants to be like him. And when I found interesting, Bard doesn't want any ringside help. He wants to do this alone. And Erica Lopez said emotions should not get in the way of business. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, they're not going to break up Legado del Fantasma. I mean, they went and changed Raul Mendoza's name to Cruz del Toro, which I don't like. I mean, did they change Joaquin Wilde's name as well, or is it just Mendoza?
It doesn't. I think it's still the same. He's still
okay. Well, I still don't like the name. See, when they change names or when they cut their names in half, it pisses me off. It really makes me mad.
because you get used to knowing them by a certain name, especially. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I watched NXT, not NXT. I watched the Cruiserweight Classic, back in 2016, and that's how I got familiar with Raul Mendoza, because he had that match with Brian Kendrick, and Brian Kendrick basically was doing heel-like things during that, and he actually, because back then he had adult braces, which is sad. He had adult braces, and what he did was he put his mouth on the ropes and then started pushing his head into the bottom rope. I remember that because that was pretty much deadly and brutal. But hey, things happen. I don't know what. Anyway, back to that. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I just think that she was just making a point. I don't think they're gonna break up.
No. That's not what I got there. She just told them, stay down. He knows what he's doing. Pretty much, leave Santos the man. He knows what he's doing, and that's the way the business rolls. And we're setting it up for the main event tonight. And then we have another promo cut. They cut a lot of good promos. The promos weren't that bad, to be honest with you. Despite there was a lot. You saw Grayson Waller and Tiffany backstage, and we're Strand asking him to take care of Adrian Chase already, and Waller told Strand to keep an eye on the match. All in all, that's just setting up, regular classic stalling for time, in my opinion, for that. There's nothing really too much to break down. We just know that the feud is going on with these two. And the only thing, I think it's just to get Tiffany Stratton out there and cut promos and being in front of a camera.
She's not really good in the ring. I mean, she's not good in the ring at all. But wouldn't be surprised if next round of cuts she might not. I mean, her feud with Saray is really weird to me, and how Saray. Yes. Oh, hello, Saray. What do you call it? Somebody just put a comment in the chat. I saw that. He says thanks for the show.
Yes, that's my co-partner on the network, Chef Dan. Thanks, sir.
You're very welcome, my friend. What was I saying? I lost train of thought.
You were mentioning about with Sarai, their feud and how
Sarai. It's just going nowhere. They just need to stop. I mean, I like Sarai, but I think what they should do is they should actually pair her. And I don't like this, but I think what they should do is they should pair her with Io Shirai wherever she is. Because that once she gets up to the main roster, she won't be doing much. They might put her on Raw, have her paired with who else is besides Asuka? There's no other Japanese women on wrestling.
They released the other one, the
Kairi Sane.
Yes, they released her. Although
actually no, her contract actually expired, but then she's an ambassador. Yeah, I think she got married.
Gotcha.
She might have gotten married. But what are the rumors?
I'll get to it. I'll get to it on with the later on this night. I had it written down. I just don't have it on me. I have to go get it in the other room. So we'll we'll want to keep him.
Okay. Now, yeah. I mean, I just feel like Io Shirai, or she could go to SmackDown and she can go to SmackDown and be with the Shinsuke. Because Shinsuke needs something to do. We should have. What should we do? What we should do is we should have an all Japanese stable. Yeah. I think that'll be beneficial for the ones that aren't being used. Like Asuka and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch and Asuka is just not doing it for me. But then that's just because of Becky. But yeah, I think that every Japanese wrestler should be in a stable, all Japanese stable. And I'm not being racist or anything, because why would I do that? I love Japanese people. But that's neither here nor there. But we'll see what happens. Time will tell.
Indeed. So we'll move on to the next issue, next promo, another promo. You see, Bron Breakker was interviewed in the NXT parking lot, out of all the places, right there on University and Cimarron Boulevard. Those that live in the Orlando area know what I'm talking about. And before Duke Hudson interrupt Breakker from earlier in the night, and Breakker challenged Hudson, to which he accepts, and that's going to be for the 24th, next Tuesday night. We're going to have Breakker and Duke Hudson battling it out there. I like the match. I hope that Duke Hudson has a good match with Bron Breakker, and I'm looking forward to see that feud, at least for that one night.
Yeah, I mean, Duke Hudson's great. His feud with Cameron Grimes was something, but I didn't like the fact that they cut his hair, but hair grows back pretty fast. I was hoping that when they had that hair versus hair match, that they wouldn't cut Cameron Grimes' hair. But that's another thing. They don't know what, like I said, in certain aspects they don't know what they're doing, but then at the same time they do. So I'm kind of glad they didn't do that. I feel like Duke Hudson is leagues above everybody in NXT, so he should be on the main roster at some point.
Yeah, we could see that. I can see Duke Hudson heading up there and going there and working, not working there. He has the height, he has the look. I think he'll work fine when his time is up. And we move on to the next scheduled match. It was Adrian Chase with Brody Hayward versus Grayson Waller. Chase U, comes down. Chase U, that section. They're over there in the arena. We see Sarai with she was the waving of the flag bearer that night. Let me ask you this, and let's elaborate quickly because we don't want to run out of time. But Chase, Adrian Chase, I could see them if he gets called up and be part of that 24/7 gimmick with all that, with the Chase U and can't you see like that? We find out that R-Truth got his degree from Chase University and all that. I would
find that. Yeah, I would find that hilarious. I mean, honestly, I when they first did the whole Chase U thing, I wasn't sold on it because I don't like him wrestling in a sweater and slacks. It's weird. I mean, but then he's got this whole thing with Brody Hayward. Brody Hayward's great in the ring. He's not bad. Brody, if he were to go out and go on his own, I think he would be at least in the contention for the North American Championship. So and Grayson Waller in his own way he's a good heel.
He is.
He's very good, at storytelling. It's in some aspects. I just don't like his cockiness at times.
Yeah, that's part of being the heel. He got what you wanted out of you. You didn't. His cockiness. He got it. He got over, despite the fact that you think you don't like him or not. That's exactly what his character went out and portrayed. And by you professing and saying that, he got you over. He did his job.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but I mean, when he first did it to Johnny, which everybody booed him out of the building for it. I think Johnny should really realistically come back and finish what Grayson Waller started, if that makes sense. Okay. But then we don't know what Johnny's going to do because everybody wants Johnny in AEW. Mm-hmm. And then Candice might go to AEW. Oh, man. They never really be all XWB guys.
Yeah, that's all the big speculation on that. There, we shall see. We shall see what goes on there. I don't mean to be a little rushing, but we know that the heel of the ring and AEW Dynamite program is coming up next
Yeah,
live,
that's
so we
yeah.
you know we got to give them time
We,
there. So we'll wrap it up. We're almost there, guys. The NXT Women's Tag Title. The champions are in the back in the Toxic Lounge. You've seen Mandy Rose, Jace, Jane, Gigi. They were talking about, and they actually took a shot at what was happening on the main roster. With we all know what's going on, that the tag titles were put on John Laurinaitis' belt on table, the women's tag title, and Naomi and Sasha Banks left for, and they made a kind of a promo saying, "Oh, we don't feel unappreciated as tag team champions," and I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, are they getting ready to bring these ladies up and promote them and that whole facet? I mean, that could bring an injection of women talent up the main roster, all three in that staple."
yeah, I think that realistically, with Mandy Rose's help and input, JC Jane and Gigi Dolan have excelled
Very much.
very much so, because I mean they are ready for the main roster at this point. I feel like they are.
Me too.
They need something. And I don't know. I mean, Katrina, what is her name? Casey Catanzaro, whatever her new name is, and what's the other person? Her tag team partner. I can't think of her name right now. They're fighting. I think they basically challenged Toxic Attraction for the NXT Women's Championships at
In your house.
In your house. That's what it's called. I forget. I lost my train of thought for a second. Yeah, so I believe that's the thing that's going to happen. And
Yeah,
I believe goddamn, whatever her name is, her Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter, that's her name. Caden Carter are going to win the championships. They should.
Yeah, and especially if Mandy Rose drops the belt, all three ladies are ready to go to the next. Because you kind of bringing Mandy Rose back up in another facet of the Riot Squad, although they don't, they're totally different from what the Riot Squad was, and of course with injuries with the other and derailed that because they were over when they first came out. But it'll be interesting to see these ladies go action. We shall see on that there. Then is when then after that promo is when they cut the promo with the Roderick Strong and the Creed brothers, thanking them for getting them a tag team match, and then Pretty Deadly made fun of them, and that's when he asked to challenge them for the tag belt on next week's edition of NXT. That's when we actually jumped the promo a little ahead, but all in all, we got to this point there. And then we finally, after all these different promos, finally get a match here. It is the second leg of the Women's Breakout Round 1 with one of the favorites in this tournament, Roxanne Perez, taking on Kaya James. Roxanne Perez, let me tell you about something about Roxanne Perez, in my opinion. She has burst into NXT these few weeks, and she is on fire, and she has the it factor. Despite not having the height, but she has the it factor. I think her wrestling moves have gotten crisp. She looks like she's ready to, she is right now. There's nothing negative to say about Roxanne Perez. What's your thoughts?
I like Roxanne. I do. Isn't she the one that said that she grew up playing WWE games?
Yeah, and then you heard the crowd calling her Roxy.
Yeah. So I believe she's really getting better in the ring. Her chemistry with James is really good.
Yes,
I like that.
It was better than the first ladies match.
Yeah, everything that I like has to involve it. You have to have chemistry, or you're worthless in the ring. Really, with whoever you're in the ring with, you have to have chemistry. If you don't have chemistry, you're gonna fail. That's how I feel about it, and that's how wrestling used to be and how it should still be. But now it's just, I don't like you, you don't like me, let's fight.
And the thing I love about Perez, the way she was executing those Russian sweeps,
Yeah.
And then she, phenomenal job there. And you also saw, and Kai James didn't do that bad either. She was limited, but she did work well. You could tell she's in a little bit of experience, but she worked whenever you want to slow a match down and not look like you don't look like a rookie or don't know what you're doing. You saw her with a couple of Boston crabs. And of course, you saw Perez try to reverse it for a pinfall attempt. James also reversed a crucifix bomb, into a backbreaker, and all in all, you could tell that James needs a lot more ring ability, more seasoning, but they had good chemistry. One, they got us over. Two, it was a good match. Three, and both ladies, they were very pretty on the ice. So all in all, a home run.
Yeah. So the next match, the next matches in the semifinals are
Roxanne
Nikita
Perez,
Lyons,
yes,
Nikita Lyons, and what's her name? The other one.
Nikita Lyons going up. No, I had it here a minute ago. Ooh, hold on a second.
I can't think of her name.
Me too. I drew a blank. I'll find it. But I know the other side of the bracket. It's Lash.
Lash Legend versus
Legend versus tonight, Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, and I feel like that match, is going to be one-sided because it's a Jade versus Goliath match, and I feel like Lash Legend it's going to be Lash Legend and Nikita Lyons in the finals, and that's not going to be a good thing. Like I said, Lash Legend. You don't think it's going to be Lash Legend and Nikita Lyons?
I think Roxanne Perez is going to somehow, some way win. I thought at first it was going to be, and when I first saw the tournament, I looked at that. I saw that's the match that I saw. Big two there, but I don't know. After I saw the match tonight with Lash Legend and so forth, I'm going to think, and the way Roxanne Perez is being worked over and the crowd loves it, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Nikita and Roxy going at it.
Okay, so it's gonna be. It could be Roxanne versus Fallon Henley. That's her name.
Fallon Henley, yeah, there you go. Thank you for getting that one. Yeah, she, Fallon Henley is a veteran. She's not veteran. She's still young. She's only 27 years old, but been around in the NXT for a couple of. Her character's okay, but I don't know. I don't see it. Unless if
yeah, I get it. NXT has. They have good talent. It's just that everybody, everybody online basically shits on their women's division or their tag team division, which is not their fault. It's because most of there are no real tag teams. I mean, you've got Pretty Deadly, you've got the Creed brothers, you've got Brooks Jensen and the other kid.
Yeah, which he's hurt right now with the hand.
Yeah, and that's all they have right now that I can think of. And the Viking Raiders.
I hope they keep Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams as a tag team.
And then potentially, let's see what happens there. But we have to keep going. We have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we saw Roxanne Perez win, and then of course, next match was we saw that after the match, you saw Cora Jade thanking celebrating with Roxanne, and then Perez saying Jade was the one that brought it to NXT, and then you saw Erica Lopez interrupt saying that Perez was going to lose to Legend. So they're planting that seed. That's why it makes me think like, no, you know what? I think Perez is they're playing that David Goliath matchup, and I think Perez is going to get some way a win there, catching off guard. And of course, Lopez will face Abby Fry on next week's edition. So Lopez and Fry is going to get a good match. They're formerly known as Kaylee Ray, so she get another name change, and she gets an opportunity next week. And then we have the match between Nathan Frazier. Yes, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say another name that I don't agree with. I mean, I like the presentation of Kaylee Ray, so there's that.
Yeah. And of course, we go to Nathan Frazier versus Wesley, the match with Wesley. And what's your thoughts on that one? Because to me, that was like, what? I had left me scratching it. It was all they fought well. You know, you've seen some good moves back and forth. You know, Frazier getting Lee in a headlock. Lee went for an arm drag. You know, then Frazier blocked it, and Lee exchanged an arm drags back and forth. You know, Lee tosses Frazier outside the ring, springboard across body, and so forth. I loved all the in-ring opportunities there from Phoenix Splash on everything. What's your thoughts on that one?
Like I said before, I love the match. The match was great. I like their chemistry together. I think it was cut short by Von Wagner. The Von Wagner. We don't know what a Von Wagner is, but you know, he came in and destroyed. It was basically a no contest because he destroyed both Nathan Frazier and Wesley, and then he just kills him by throwing him on the announce table somehow from the ring.
That was crazy. You know, a Von Wagner. Hey, is that on your face or is that a Von Wagner?
A Von Wagner. I don't know what a Von Wagner is. We don't know what a Von Wagner is. But anyway, I don't know. They said something about a female in the crowd. I can't think. I don't know what her name was, but I didn't see her when they showed the replay. I didn't see her, not at all. So
yeah, did I?
Because after that they just went straight to the next match. So I didn't see the person they were talking about.
Actually, they went to the backstage because they cut another promo with all of a sudden he came back again. Sanja gave props to Wesley and Frazier for the match, and despite the fact that Ron Wagner interrupted, he said that he wouldn't stand for it to be disrespected, so he challenged Sagna. Sagna accepted, and he said that he does not roll like Wagner. So I don't know what that means. He doesn't roll like him, so he's gonna hurt him more, or it was weird.
Zion Quinn versus Von Wagner.
Sanga. Yeah, Sanga.
Yeah, Sanga. All right. Well, I'm
he
not
hasn't
sure
been
about
on TV
Sanga.
for a while though. Sanga, right? He hasn't been on TV. You know, and I know we're running short of time, but that Sanga's character, the way he was backstage with the suit prep, that's what Veer Mahan should be doing.
Weren't they in a tag team, or was that Veer Mahan and Shanky? I'm not sure which one it was.
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
They all look the same. I'm not being racist here, but they all look the same.
We move on before we get into some trouble.
Okay.
There. Main event time. Oh man, SANTOS ESCOBAR taking on the Don. Oh,
they didn't get SANTOS an entrance. Tony D'Angelo, man, they shouldn't have given him an entrance, but he's good. He's amazing at wrestling. I just hope that when it's time for him to get called up, that they call up all of Legado del Fantasma as a unit, because they need unless where would you put them exactly? Royal SmackDown?
I think you need them in SmackDown.
SmackDown? Yeah, SmackDown needs talent way more than Raw does. But see, the thing is, you don't want to have a clash of you don't want to have a clash of factions between the Bloodline and Legado. So,
well, you could have a faction. You could. They don't have to fight each other, but like in a collision course, with it. I think I kind of like that though. Because Raw already has its main staple and they already have their situation going.
With the Judgment Day.
With the Judgment Day, and then also if you bring them, and not worry about the Bloodline, because since the tribal chief is going to be part-timer, I think they could fill in those spots where you're missing and you could still bring them when the Bloodline comes. It's more meaningful because if you saturate too much of the Bloodline all the week, they get boring after a while. And now as a part-timer, they come in. When they come, it's a big deal, and that's why you could take the audience fluctuation on that staple for Bloodline, and you could bring Fantasmo there, and you could start building them up. And then when the tribal chief come, they take us like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I get it. I know what you mean. Well, let's talk about the match.
Absolutely, go for it. What's your thoughts on that match?
The match was, good. It was better than you would expect it to be for a family versus family feud, I guess you could call it. I like the aspect of Santos really being playing up to the crowd. Winning the way he won was kind of like a heel move, but then at the same time, I'm not sure if he's a heel or a face. It's kind of iffy on that one, you know.
They're both for heels. If you think about it, they both for heels, and all in all, these two guys were like what you said. Santos Escobar and their staple, they're ready to go to the main roster. I don't see what else they need there. They beat Tony D'Angelo. They beat the Don. They're what would be next for them? To me personally, this is the perfect time to call them up and get them on the main roster.
Yeah, and like they have the tag team, the singles, and the women, so they can do it. They can have Mendoza, and I'm not gonna call him Del Toro because I don't like that name. Cruz, yeah, Cruz, Del Toro Cruz. I'm gonna say that they can have them go for the tag titles, and then you can have Elektra Lopez go for the women's title, and then you can have Escobar go for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah,
because you know that nobody's gonna dethrone Reigns besides Cody Rhodes, and that's happening.
Right. No, and you could have Escobar, and you want to start him off in that fashion anyway, getting them intercontinental titles. See how that grows, and he is, and you could bring that angle of the line taking over, and we're internationally, and since he has that like that cartel, that familia angle, they're international now. They reach Central, South America and international waters. That's why he's the international champion. Kind of like shooting and saying that his belt as an international champion is much greater and actually could bring meaning to the Intercontinental IC belt with that angle. Because I think that will work phenomenal if you bring him up there.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I want. But like I said, it's WWE and they don't have time. They don't want to push your favorites. But I'm surprised that they gave Ricochet the Intercontinental Championship.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring them up and they run with that because they have stadium shows that they got to fill up. SummerSlam got to fill up. You can't keep giving us WrestleMania Backlash storylines in a SummerSlam. So, do I see them injecting a new life? I could see that. I could see them coming up around June, right after Hell in a Cell or even Money in the Bank. I could see these guys up in the main roster, ready to go. I think so. I have a feeling. I think so.
Yeah, let's see what happens because I mean, I would be surprised if they put Santos in the Money in the Bank. That'd be pretty cool.
I agree, indeed. That'd be cool too. But we all know Money in the Bank is going to be probably won by Cody Rhodes. It looks more like it's going to be that way. It is. But we could review that another time here. And all in all, what was your grade on the NXT card? That just passed on the 17th of May. What's your thoughts? If you had to grade it from alphabetically, A plus to the greatest to an F that it really stunk.
I would say not bad, but good. I would give it a B plus. A B plus, a low A minus.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I had an A minus on my thought. A minus was really good. The reason why it doesn't get a full A, it was because I think it might have been too many promos, but I also understand why they cut up all these promos. You got to get these performers get used to speaking on the mic, cutting promos, especially when they go on the main roster, and to captivate a crowd. Also, the NXT arena is extremely small. You want to get guys in and out, change props, so forth. And I get it why they do that. I get it. I understand why they do it, and all in all, it was not cringeworthy. Despite some of these ladies are performers, and once again, I don't care what anyone says. We all know the rumors in the news that the women, Tasha and Naomi, were uncomfortable with match or whatever the case is. No one does great work or more for women's wrestling than NXT women's division and the WWE women's division. They know how to treat these ladies well, get them perform well. We could spend here an hour just podcasting about women's wrestling, the way they has come along from early 90s, because every week it seemed like Monday Night Raw, you always saw Lita and Trish and someone in panties. Now these are actually some real ladies that are wrestling, that do some great moves, that could hold their own and entertaining, run a storyline, and they don't need to resort to bra and panty matches. They are actually performers, and WWE, I think, is the leader on when it comes to women's revolution of wrestling. They know when to book them. They don't book them at 9:30 at night before the main event, and they just bury them, and everyone, and then we got guys come out here and talk and sound like sexist pig and I'm talking about NEW, the women's division, that they stink, the way they book it and so forth. But I digress. I don't want to stick on that, shooting on them, because
they do that on the AEW.
They always, you could go back for a month. Go if you have a timestamp, 9:30 match. The match before the main event is always, except for the time that they gave the women's ROH title their main event, and that was a flop. And because it's ROH,
we could really. I mean, I'm gonna have to pick your brain about the whole ROH Tony Khan thing. But we'll do that another time.
Whenever we could do that, we'll set it up. After the stream is over, we'll talk about it. We'll have some more videos. So this is a work in progress. Myself and Samurai on the NXT side of the Hail the Ring podcast. All in all, I had personally, I know that the guys are coming up, and I will be on the AEW podcast as well, coming up in about 25 minutes. I want to say I had a really great time. Our first program together with Samurai, I enjoyed it. It's going to be fun continuing to cover NXT with you. And each and every week, what you're bringing it. You are a veteran with NXT, and I'm thankful to have shared this platform to speak with NXT with you, because we need it, and of course, you have to have an open mind. Again, if you're going to watch NXT, they're developmental. That's just put yourself in their shoes. This is you for the very first time, lacing boots, working in front of a live crowd on television, and doing your job that you've been practicing and bumping and getting ready for us to have matches and making this a career. Now you're doing it for real in front of everyone in a live audience, and this is what these guys got to do. Not only that, they got to cut promos, make themselves physically look capable, ready, costume, work the match on time, follow the instructions. There's a lot there, and for them not to have bumps and botches, I loved it. Samurai, what's your final thoughts before we say goodnight?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you there. I do. I mean, it's a work in progress, and they need to get acclimated with the TV side of things.
Yes.
I feel like that's the best way you can do it is get out there and take bumps and get bad on the mic, get good on the mic if you're bad, because talking usually is not everybody's strong point. Like, it isn't my strong point, but being in front of a camera is also not my strong point. But I can turn my camera on, but I don't like the way I look right now because my hair's a mess. But other than that, it's talking, getting in the ring, taking bumps. That's all it really is, and that's what they need to learn. And most of these people are coming from other backgrounds like basketball, football, soccer, rugby,
high school.
Yeah. I mean, they want to do this for a living. I've wanted to be a wrestler my entire life, but I never got the chance to do it because, one, I don't have the money, or two, I don't have the time to go down to Florida. I mean, if anybody has connections, just hit me up. I mean, I used to do the backyard wrestling thing when I was younger, but that never.
We all did.
Yeah, I mean, I had a gimmick and everything.
Nice. Well, we'll wrap it up tonight here. Thank you again, Samurai. And guys, remember, hit that like, subscribe. If you're listening to us on the audio platform, tune in to the BX Sports Jedi Network anywhere you get your audio platform, Spreaker, Spotify, Anchor, Amazon, Google, Apple, you name it. If there's a podcast, just put PS Sport Jedi Network, Heel of the Ring, and of course the different programs, the NXT, WWE, Raw, SmackDown, Rampage. Definitely, I think me and Samurai will be back to review SmackDown on Friday, either Friday or Saturday. We'll convey on that. Just hit that notification if you're listening to us on YouTube, Rumba, Twitch. So when we come on live, you join us. So we thank you guys for the likes and the shares, and we'll see you next time. Always, may the sports be with you, and of course, always pin any situation because life is too short. So we'll talk to you later here on the Heel of the Ring podcast.